From the soundstage of the digital media classroom here at Wellington High School, once again, welcome to another episode of Dialogue with the Dukes. I'm your host, Bill Berger, and today we are going to be sponsored by Main Street Wellington, located on West Herrick Street in downtown Wellington. We have a very special guest today, and I do apologize because we've had so many athletic interviews and mind, body, spirit interviews and things like that we have neglected to talk to the brand new principal here at Wellington High School, Ms. Donna Keenan. Ms. Keenan, welcome. We're glad to have you with us finally today. And as I said, we apologize. We wish that we could have had you in sooner. This timing just didn't work out right. Well, the obvious first question, Ms. Keenan, is what's your background prior to coming to Wellington High School?
All right. I lived in Lorraine, and I grew up in Lorraine, lived there all my life. I went to high school in Lorraine. Went to college at Cleveland State, and afterwards I got a job working with Lorraine City Schools, where I worked for 22 years before leaving there and venturing down to the southern end of the county.
What did you do in Lorraine?
I was a teacher for a number of years, and then an assistant principal at various buildings in Lorraine.
What did you teach?
I'm a math teacher by trade, grades 7 through 12.
Mrs. Drake, obviously math teacher also, so you're in with very good company here.
So is
the students should know.
So is Mr. Weber too, math teacher.
There you go. So, what was the actual draw? Why did you choose to come? You said you were the assistant principal in Lorraine. Why did you choose to come? Other than the fact that you get a bit of a step upgrade to become principal, what was the draw? What did you want to come? Why did you want to come to Wellington High School?
I think I've always loved Wellington, that kind of small town atmosphere. I told them during my interviews that I actually we used to come camping down here at Finley State Park every summer when I was growing up. You know, we didn't have a lot of money, so that was our vacations every summer. So I spent a lot of time in and around Wellington when I was growing up, and I've always been drawn to that small town, you know, with a quaint downtown atmosphere. So I really like being here and the fact of how small it is, and everybody kind of knows everyone else.
Yeah, Lorraine's a much bigger high school than Wellington is.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Mrs. Drake was always very interested in all of the programs, the grants, trying to get grants here at Wellington High School and within the school district itself. Can you expound upon what programs are actually going on, what grants are going on, and what we can look forward to in the future?
Right. Right now, we do have a couple of very small grants here. We have the Student Leadership Excellence Program that is being done through our agriculture classes with Mrs. Tomey. And then we have another one that is being done through health classes, like the social and emotional learning. The other big thing that we started working on this year, because Mrs. Drake, before she had left, had gotten us to be part of a grant for a pre-apprenticeship program here. And so we have kind of taken that on right now. And so what we're going to be looking at within the next 2 years is adding pre-apprenticeships within the high school. Could be, somebody who's, going into custodial work or the kitchen, some sort of hospitality area. So that's our biggest push right now, is working through that, the pre-apprentice grant. And that's going to take us a couple years to get that going.
Now, do you have anything else coming in the future, or is there maybe a pet project that you want to get into for the high school itself?
I haven't thought of any pet projects yet. The pre-apprentice one is going to kind of roll over a couple of years, because now you have to get the pre-apprentice off the ground, but then you have to start and you have to actually do an apprenticeship here. So that's a lot of work in and of itself. But I don't have a pet project yet. Still kind of getting to know the school, the area, and kind of determining what the needs are before I kind of come up with my pet projects.
Okay. Now we want to try to hopefully provide something positive to all the parents here at Wellington High School. We have, throughout the country as a matter of fact, we have a big problem with shortages in staff, shortages specifically in bus drivers. And in fact, last night on the news, they said that Stowe High School got an extra day of vacation, which of course made the kids just ecstatic, and they went sledding down the hills, but it didn't necessarily make the parents happy. In fact, one of the parents was interviewed, and she said, if they try to say that we don't have enough bus drivers tomorrow, I'm going to drive the bus. So obviously, other schools have got staffing problems, bus driver problems. Hopefully you can provide something positive for all the Wellington High School parents as far as bus drivers and teachers within the whole entire school district.
Right. Well, I'm going to tell you, I mean, as far as staffing goes, I think right now we're sitting pretty comfortably within the buildings with our staffing. The one thing is bus drivers are a hot commodity right now. So we're always looking for bus drivers. But then again, I know Mr. Weber's been known to go pick up some kids in a van, so I don't think we're ever going to have to worry about that shortage there. But really, that kind of leads the way into that apprenticeship that I was just talking about, is looking at those needs in the system and how can we use our kids, as apprentices to kind of fill some of those gaps too. So we won't have to worry about it because we're going to have students here who will be able to kind of help fill some of those gaps as well. I don't know if they'll be able to drive a bus. But if they can do some of the other things that free up staff to drive buses.
Now, we didn't discuss this question. I hope you know. Do you know what the requirements are to become a bus driver?
I do not, actually. I'm not sure if they need a CDL or not. I think they might.
I think they do, yeah.
Right.
But I don't know any of the other requirements as far as that goes. But anyone that might want to be interested in becoming a bus driver for the entire school district, certainly you would be a good contact to at least start with, and then you can point them in the right direction.
Right, absolutely. Or Mr. Weber's office, yes, either one.
Exactly. Well, the other, shall we say, national important thing that's happened just since we were on Thanksgiving break, all of a sudden, 17 countries throughout the entire world have become involved with this new variant called the Omicron variant for COVID-19. And we know that 17 countries, including the country to the immediate north of us, Canada, they also have, I believe I heard this morning, they have only 2 cases, but it goes without reasoning that the United States is going to unfortunately get involved with this Omicron variant, and of course Ohio, and then hopefully we hope to keep it away from our school district, but we know there's always a chance. What can you tell all of the parents? What can you tell the students? How are you going to combat this variant if indeed it becomes a problem here, not only at the high school, but with the school district itself?
Right. Well, I think we'll just continue to encourage everyone to do the same things we've been doing all year. Number one, I mean, everybody is encouraged to wear their masks at school. Not required, but absolutely encouraged. It really does kind of help stop the spread, not only of COVID, but also other diseases as well. And then, we've been talking, we have the kids be socially distant, maintain their distances, kind of always being mindful of that. And the last thing is just encouraging parents and students to stay home if you're sick. If you're not feeling well, if you're symptomatic, just stay home. And we err on the side of caution when kids come down and tell us that they're sick. We tend to really call home much quicker than we probably ever have in the past, just because the sooner we get them out of the building, the hopefully it slows down the spread of any germs.
And of course, being wintertime, we know that we've always had a flu problem, and of course this will be compounded with the COVID-19. It's probably the same things that you want to emphasize for the flu, or not getting the flu as the case may be. Things like washing your hands, hand sanitizers, all that. I'm sure these are very important things.
Yes,
that you
we still
want
have
to
the hand
emphasize.
sanitizers around the building. Yes, the kids are encouraged to use them. Washing hands is always encouraged. Absolutely.
And we have certain water fountains, I think, throughout the school that are just for water bottles.
Just the water bottles, yes. And I see the kids filling up at them regularly.
Well, that'll be good. Well, when we come back after this message from Main Street Wellington, we want to talk specifically about things that are actually going on here at Wellington High School. We will be back after this message from the Main Street Wellington office in downtown Wellington. We are back. We hope that if you have any questions about the district within the downtown district within Wellington, Jenny Arntz at Main Street Wellington is certainly a good contact to talk to. And if you do have, as I say, questions, I believe that this coming Saturday, although this may not be edited in time, I believe this is going to be a Small Business Saturday, or maybe we just had that. But all of that has to do with Main Street Wellington. And as I said, if you're interested in all the shops that are located in downtown Wellington and things like that, Jenny Arntz at Main Street Wellington is the person to go to. We are back here with Ms. Donna Keenan. She is the principal here at Wellington High School, and she's given us an idea of what her background is, and we've talked a little bit about the programs and the grants and so on, and what is actually in the news, shall we say, both within Ohio and nationally. So now I want to get more into Wellington High School itself. And the first question is going to be, and it's a tough one, I realize, but what makes a successful Wellington High School graduate?
I think a graduate anywhere, I think you need to have certain skills. Those soft people skills are going to be the most important things for kids, and the leadership skills coming up. Being able, customer service, being able to problem solve on the job, to be able to think on your feet. Those things are really coming up as being highly important in the job market, even more so than technical skills, is the ability to work well with others and to problem solve. I think nowadays kids spend so much time behind their electronics that they've forgotten how to interact. So, and that's why when we talked about the grants, we said there was the student leadership and excellence grant was one of the ones that we're starting, hoping to build on that, because the kids need those skills. They need that leadership experience, and in order to understand how to deal with people.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to ask you, do you think social media inhibits the development of leadership skills or becoming a successful graduate or getting a job?
I absolutely agree. Right, so. And I also think, and it's going to fall right into your next question, I think that social media these days has really put a rise to bullying and the thoughts of bullying. And I think a lot more of that happens on social media than so much so in the actual school building. I don't think kids are so much saying things anymore as they're picking on one another on those social media platforms.
I know that Mrs. Drake was very interested in trying to combat this bullying problem. And I asked Ms. Keenan off camera whether she thought that we had bullying when we went to school. And to be honest, we don't really remember such a thing. And the fact that we have now social media that's impinging on this ability to not only have the leadership skills, but also the actual bullying itself on social media, and how it's become such a problem. I think you would agree with that.
Yes, I do, and I think nowadays too, with the social media, is that kids see what's out there and they want more than what they have, and so since they can't have it, they've got to kind of go after and attack the people who do.
Do you actually see evidences of bullying in Wellington High School? Actually, in the halls or anything like that? Because I know that you are sitting there as a hall monitor when the bells ring and things like that. Do you actually see any instances?
I don't, but kids are very smart, and they tend not to do these things when adults are around.
Right.
And I know I've talked to a number of kids who, this year, who felt that they were being bullied. Always try to do my investigations, get down to the bottom of it, see what's going on. And the other thing too is that I'm really big into is, there has to be punitive measures when kids do things that they shouldn't do, but also is looking at repairing relationships. I mean, Wellington High School is an extremely small school. It's an extremely small setting. So if you don't get along with somebody right now,
sure,
you're gonna see them again and again and again. You're gonna see them at sports and events and activities and classes. So we have to repair those relationships. So how do we repair them so that way you can go on coexisting in such a small environment?
And we all know that bullying in Wellington has been a big problem. And I think that's why Mrs. Drake got so into it. And now, now the mantle is handed to you, and just trying to do the things. And I think those are good ideas. But as you said, at the end of, I shared with you at the end when I do my GLW broadband play-by-play, my last comment is usually, if you are a bully, you are a loser, and I totally believe that. Now, whether people listen to that, I have no idea. So, the next thing that we need to talk about, we know that throughout the United States and really the world, many districts, many schools, many countries are going to this year-round school. Do you believe that year-round school is good, or do you believe that the kids need to have a break during the summertime?
I don't know. I mean, I could really go either way on that argument. I've always said if I lived in Florida, I would be for year-round school. I mean, you go someplace like that where the weather is nice all year long, and year-round school could make sense because you can have a break in October when it's not nearly as hot as it is in July.
Sure.
I do think that there's evidence that over the summer there's a learning loss experienced by every student. So that's the one thing that year-round school does. It's supposed to prevent that learning loss.
Sure.
So those 3 months the kids have off between 8th and 9th grade or 9th and 10th grade, and they forget things. So next year when they come in, you've got to do some reteaching right off the bat in order to combat that. So I think year-round schools would be beneficial
Sure.
to combat that. Again, I don't know for me personally if I want to have 3 weeks off in January when it's cold. And snowy out.
Right.
I'd rather have those 3 weeks off in June or July.
Mm-hmm. Well, from my point of view, I always like to have that summer vacation. So whether
I think the kids need that too, though. I think they need that break to kind of decompress.
Sure. Exactly.
Get themselves out of habits.
Now whether I lost any learning or that,
right.
Who knows? Well, my next thing has to do with food, and we know we have a cafeteria that serves, we hope, very good food. Do we have good food options that are served in the cafeteria? Could they be better?
Wellington Schools just hired a food services director.
Oh.
And I think that she's going to be doing very good things for the food program around here. And already I've seen some definite changes. Today, when I went to the cafeteria, walked around, I noticed the kids were eating buffalo chicken dip with the nachos. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's one of my favorite foods. So I was kind of excited to see that in there. I haven't seen that. I think that was a first.
Sure.
A few weeks back, they had some sort of taco bowls or burrito bowls or something. But it was homemade pico de gallo on it. So they, are looking at some fresh options.
Sure.
I've heard that the menu coming up is incredibly different than what it's been in the past. So only time will tell. The food's always looked and smelled good, but even more lately since we hired the new food service director, I think it's gotten better.
I wonder if the kids will feel the same way.
I will ask them. I go
Sure.
around and that really smells great. They're like, it's good. I mean, they'll usually give me pretty honest feedback.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, the second to last, and really the last question, really. I know you've only been here a short time, but you've been within the teaching environment for 22 years plus. So I'm sure that you have an idea of what your job is as the principal, what your job was as a teacher, what your job was as an assistant principal. So while you're here as principal at Wellington High School, what's your, say your ultimate goal? What do you want to accomplish in your time as principal? And I know we're going I hope way into the future.
Right.
But what do you want to try to accomplish here at Wellington High School?
I really think kind of long-term goals of a principal, I'm looking at enrollment, obviously, is maintaining and growing the enrollment here within the building. Every year a number of our students go out to the JVS. I think every year that number kind of rises. It would be nice to hopefully maybe pull some of those kids back in here to get the traditional education, although I do understand that the JVS works for a number of students. If there's any students who are open enrolled, is how do we make them feel like they're welcome to come back here to Wellington High School? So I think increasing the enrollment within the building. We're always judged by our test scores.
Sure.
And so I think that, graduating, kids who are college and career ready is a huge goal of mine. And looking at how do we make sure that every year we increase the number of students who are graduating
Sure.
college and career ready.
Mhm.
And also to make sure to increase our attendance rate
Mhm.
to as high as it can be. And
Sure.
I'd love to see 100% graduation rate, although that's pretty unrealistic.
Mhm.
But maybe 95% graduation rate.
Well, now we didn't discuss this, but I personally think JVS is a great idea. I didn't way back 55 years ago when I was in high school, graduated from high school. We didn't have anything like JVS. We had nothing like that. We did have 2 lanes that you could go down. We had college prep, and I can't remember what the other one was called. But there was no JVS. There was no specific, I say program, but there were so many programs involved within JVS. I personally think that JVS is a great idea. Now, I didn't discuss it with you. How do you feel?
Well, you know what, I do too. I mean, I definitely think that that there are kids who know what path that they want to go down, and JVS is a great option. I mean, not every kid's going to go to college, and not every kid probably should go to college.
Sure.
And nowadays, I'm telling you, the demand for some of those technical and mechanical and skills is huge. I mean, HVAC. I mean, they're on the radio advertising, come be an apprentice and get paid to learn this trade.
Sure.
So being in a trade or something to that effect is a great skill now. I just think that, sometimes I feel like there's a lot of kids who kind of go that way because they're not sure that what we have to offer here at the high school.
Mhm.
Not sure if they have a passion for something specific or that they're just trying to do something different than come to the high
Sure.
school. So I think those people who have that passion, who have that goal, who have that drive, who want to, some people are just more hands-on, more technical, so they go out there to explore what options are available out there. So I think there's something for everybody. I would just like to make sure that, if you're not sure you want to go that route, come in here and give us a try and see
Sure.
what we can offer you.
And in many cases, all you need to do is call your local plumber or something like that. They make an awful lot of money.
They do. They
So-
do, and
so-
they're looking. I mean, they are looking desperately for people. Every place is.
Sure, exactly. Well, I do want to now give you the opportunity, since I've been the one asking all the questions, I want to give you the opportunity to shall we say, a last say, or anything that we haven't covered that you would like to talk to the students and the parents about.
I don't have a specific message, but I just really think I want to thank everyone here, the students, the staff, the parents, the community for being as welcoming as they've been to me, and as open and friendly. I feel like since the first day I got here that I've kind of fit in, which is a nice feeling. It makes it easy to come to work every day and
Sure.
to kind of do your job.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you to everyone for making me feel welcome here at Wellington High School and within the Wellington community.
Mm-hmm. Well, we would like to thank Ms. Donna Keenan, the brand new principal here at Wellington High School, for giving us the time to talk with her about her background, talking about programs within the school district, and not only that, but looking to the future and looking at specific items as far as goals and things like that, looking at the students specifically. We'll be back again very soon with another episode of Dialogue with the Dukes. Thank you for watching.